Hello and welcome back to another episode of Becky's Allotment. This is plot 1, back in January, and I was just coming back to the allotment to look over everything. And I'm going to show you how we've redeveloped it. I did have a few videos, but I seem to have lost them. So this is the earliest video I have. This is back in January, and this is how the plot looked back then. As you can see on the left, there was a net tunnel which we've taken down, but I'll show you now. And this is the middle part of plot 1. This will be significant in a minute and you'll see why, but this is just how everything was looking back in January. A bit of a mess. Now this is the allotment back in February now, so we'd started to do some work on it. I had started digging out the path there because we'd just been putting wood chips and more wood chips and more wood chips on it, so it needed digging out to stop it from being higher than the rest of the plot. And I just wanted to make a nice pathway up to the polytunnel. So this is how the front of the plot was looking. Not much has changed, to be honest. I've planted some thornless gooseberries in there and some strawberries, but when it came to planting some more strawberries it was just too wet. I thought they'd rot in the ground, so I gave up on that. Tidied up the middle of this plot a little bit back in February, but hadn't been able to do much, so we were just concentrating on doing the path, and then we'll get round to moving all the pots out of the way and redeveloping this middle part of the allotment, which is the most important bit that we're concentrating on at the moment. Doesn't look much different to January, but we haven't had much nice weather back in February. Now I'm just hiding in the communal shed because it started to rain a bit more than we expected, but it's nice to hear the sound of the rain. So, currently waiting in the shed for the rain to stop. Went a bit crazy there. So, what I've done today is this path gets so much couch grass, it's unbelievable. So I've dug out all the old wood chips and put them in the compost bin. I seen Terry doing that the other day, and I'd forgotten that you needed to do that, so there was like 7 years worth of wood chips on there. Nice soil. So that's what I've done. I put the black plastic down. I know it's not great, but nothing stops this, and I really need it to be easy to maintain. So this is the best way for me at this moment in time in my life, and maybe it'll change at another time. But I'm not sure whether the slabs will stay there, but while we're doing the redevelopment up there, we'll have to have them here. They look nice. So I've got the wood chips down and some patio slabs and everything to stop the couch grass growing through. So there's black plastic on there, there's black plastic on there. It's just anything to stop that couch grass stuff. At the fronts there isn't any because that's where my flowers go, and I put that strulch mulch on it which is supposed to last years, but as you can see it is still on there and it's matted on there, but when it really dried out a lot of it blew away. I don't even know where it is on this side. I put so much on there, whether someone else fancied it or whether it just blew away. I didn't see it on the path or anything. It's just rotted or something. I don't know. I don't know. So, it's a little bit better than it was earlier. We're literally ripping everything up from here and redeveloping this middle bit. So, from these paths up to the greenhouse and right across and back down. So I can't change the front, and obviously I can't change the back there. So there used to be the net tunnel there, and it just ended up being filled with loads of crap and hardly any brassicas. Look at that, there was like 4 things in there. It was so dark, that netting, it didn't work. It needed the lighter netting, but the actual polytunnel frame had rotted and was no good, so we won't be using that again. If I do get another one from, say, that polytunnel in future, then I might think about doing it again, but not at this time. It was a good idea and it worked for a bit, but I just used the wrong netting, and that's about it. So what will I be doing for this revamp of this plot? So everything will be cleared, everything will be leveled off as much as I possibly can. It can't be level, this is on a mountain, it's on a hill. If I level it out, the concrete paths break. So anyway, we will be doing these beds here, will be on the end next to the path there. Then we'll have a little 60 centimetre path, which is how big the wheelbarrows are. Then there will be a 5-foot bed, 60 centimetre path by here up to the polytunnel. Then another 5-foot bed, another 60 centimetre path, and another bed, and that should be the end then. And there will be 2 lots of beds, so I'll still have the big bean bed here, but it'll just be split into 2 beds with a path, so it should hopefully be easier to get around and maintain, and we shall see. And then we're going to redo the paths in front of the greenhouse and the polytunnel there, and then the last bit will be with whatever wood that I've got left and spares. We will do in front of the shed and make that nice and pretty, but that will be the last bit that gets done. We're at the moment just concentrating on redoing the middle. I'm not going to bore you with all the digging that we did, but this is how the plot looked over like February and March. Still a bit wet sometimes, so we couldn't dig. We had to wait a couple of dry days in a row, and eventually we managed to get it all dug over. So it's a nice day today. We're back down the allotment, and we have dug over this section which we're redoing of plot 1. And that bit's still a mess, but we're going to build some raised beds then for here. Just got to give it a quick rake over because it's a bit uneven. I did start by raking it over, but my god, it was difficult. So as soon as we dug it and taken the weeds out first, I gave it a rotovate.